Okay, welcome back. I'm in a car with Stefan Weisen.
That would be me.
It's a long time coming.
That's true. Well, we want to do that in the summer.
The Healy, right?
Car, and we figured it's too much wind noise.
Yeah, I have to figure out a way to get like a foam mic hooked up to this thing.
Right.
I don't know how to do that yet. I have to get James to help me.
Yeah, it's hard to believe, but there will be a next summer.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. In the middle of a blizzard, essentially, for the year. So thanks for doing this.
You're very welcome, Rob.
So I've got Stefan on the show today, and Stefan and I, we've known each other since 2009.
Yep.
And business partner at Intrigue, mentor, life coach, I'd say, in terms of the way our involvement is, and you can look at lifelong serial entrepreneur and all the good stuff that comes along with it. Proud dad and awesome husband, good friend of many. So maybe you could, in true fashion, give the audience a little summary of kind of where you've come from and what you're up to these days.
Yeah, I mean, as you can imagine, my accent gives it away. I'm coming from Tunisia. So, we
always wanted to go to Tunisia.
It's nice and warm. That's why I made this up. So, born, raised, educated in Germany, but always with a very much of an international angle. I graduated in marketing from the German-French business school.
Yeah.
I got my marketing degree. Prior to that, I did an apprenticeship with a bank, so I'm officially a banker. But we don't hold that right now. Yeah, we won't hold that against you. Thank you. So so after that education, started working in Germany in the automotive industry, which is my passion as well. So that was pretty cool. Worked with first a private and a public company in the automotive sector. Joined then another public company in the electrical industry.
Yep.
Hated it.
Right.
So at age 35, I more or less figured out I'm unemployable. I'm just too independently minded. It's tough, right? So then my wife's from Germany as well. Our kids were born in Germany, but my wife's life dream has been to live in Canada. So that was the opportunity. We were at a crossroads. I hated my job.
Yeah.
I was jailed in being, big salary and big company, and I hated it every day. And she figured this is not the time, to go to Canada.
Pull the trigger.
Yes, pull the trigger. I mean, start a new life. For me, the life would be being an entrepreneur, being on my own, and haven't received a paycheck ever since, unless those you and I sometimes have to, fight hard for. But
right.
That's the entrepreneur. So that's who I am. Coming to Canada, started a marketing business, since marketing sales is what I've been doing as an activity all my life professionally. The company was called Stainless Image. It was an out-of-home advertising company putting adverts on local streets in municipalities using stainless steel street furniture. Think of litter containers, pedestrian barriers, park benches. Company didn't take off in Canada, but thanks to Canadian connections my wife has, one of her best friend's dad was an advertising executive in Toronto, lived in Connecticut area. So to make the story short, we opened an office in Danbury, Connecticut.
Of all places.
Places. And that was Stainless Image US, and it actually took off quite nicely.
Yeah.
Our first home in Canada, and we are looking at 1993, was in Picton, Ontario.
Okay,
which, looking at snow, Watertown, upper New York State, Snow City, USA.
Yeah.
Many times I drove through blizzards to get to the office, so I spent much time in Danbury, Connecticut.
Yeah.
To the detriment of the family, of course. Kids were in school, just going to school. Again, make that story short, the company folded. We misjudged the Olympic Games in Atlanta.
Right.
We took on an investment partner, invested $1 million in the business. Time was too short. I didn't have majority in the company back then.
Yeah.
And really, that was the first time ever that I was outvoted at a board meeting. I had only 49%. I said, let's not do the Olympics. We don't have enough time to sell advertising. 51% of the shareholders My American partners were against that. We went to the Olympics. Yeah, a few weeks after the Olympics, the investor came to me and bought me out.
Yeah.
I got at least some money for my shares, and I folded a year later.
Crazy.
A great learning experience, and that's why the partnership between Paul, you and I is so great. We never voted, right? We are partners for 8 years.
Yeah,
we never had a vote.
Yeah, that's true.
That says a lot of the quality of a partnership.
Yeah, that's. I think sometimes, I mean, I take it for granted a little bit.
Yeah.
Just because it's how we operate all the time. And I've never experienced that.
Yes.
But I've heard it lots, from other people.
It's toxic.
Yeah.
It's toxic, and and I was happy that I was bought out, because to me it was toxic for good.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyways, after that, I mean, obviously I was out of a job and out of a company. The brother of a former business associate from Germany lives in Woodbridge. He's a chartered accountant.
Yeah.
And I met him, and we said, well, great, I'm building up a division in my accounting firm to buy and sell businesses. Maybe this is a bit your expertise, you're entrepreneurial, you know about business. Okay, great. So we started Entrex, a mergers and acquisition firm.
Wow.
Which
I don't even know about this one.
Well, the company lasted extremely short.
Okay.
Because we were hired by the owners of a business called Drop and Flop.
Right.
And Drop and Flop was a manufacturer of home goods for pets and people, small beanbag chairs and beds. So bought the company myself.
First merger and acquisition complete.
Yes. I think I also felt, this is not what I'm not a consultant type of person. I need a product rolling out of the door, like an intrigue when a website goes live. That makes my day.
Yeah,
I need tangible stuff happening.
And you want to get into it, right? Roll up your sleeves.
Yes. Yeah, that. So said and done, bought that company in 1997. We made a few $100,000 in sales, had a business plan. Well, it took 3 times as long as anticipated.
Which is always the case.
And we almost increased sales tenfold. At the peak, we did 2.8 million.
Awesome.
And I sold the company to a supplier.
Yeah.
Why did I sell it? It was profitable. I sold it for nice money, no question. But I lost the mojo. For almost 10 years, it was Stefan. I didn't have business partners. That again is another thing why I value being with Paul and yourself so much.
Right.
When you have partners, it is so much better in business.
Yeah, it's not lonely at the top like a lot of people kind of talk about.
Yes, it's.
So then, random side note, I was going to put this in here. So Drop and Flop, produced beanbag chairs is one of its main products.
Yeah.
And when Stefan got introduced to Intrigue Media in 2009, I just happened to have a beanbag chair in my office.
Yes.
And on that tag, the logo of the company said Drop and Flop.
Indeed.
And it was so random that was coincidental in itself. But the logo font was Comic Sans, which. Yeah. First of all, we always joke about in marketing that you never. So just as a heads up, never use Comic Sans unless you're trying to make fun of fonts that you're using in typeface. Don't use Comic Sans. But the interesting part is, Intrigue Media's original name was actually Hair Media, like a bunny, Hair Media, and the font was Comic Sans.
Yes,
it's like so. We're meant to be.
Great minds think alike. Even they're wrong sometimes.
Yeah, no doubt.
So Drop Flop. Yeah, it was a success. I lost the mojo because I was running out of ideas of inspiration.
What to do next?
Well, and I didn't plan to sell the company.
Right.
But a supplier tried to compete with us. They were very, very hungry because they wanted to become a tier 1 supplier. Drop and Flop was tier 1. It was all retailers.
Right.
Sears, Walmart, Canadian Tire, PetSmart, you name it.
Yeah.
So they wanted our portfolio, our vendor agreements.
Yeah.
So they paid nicely.
Yeah, okay, cool.
They paid a good EBITDA multiple. Anyways, sold the company. Worked with them as consultants when the economic crisis hit. Their main business was supplying to automotive industry with foam.
Right.
Tier 2 supplier. It was brutal.
Whatever, that doesn't matter.
They were hacked.
Yeah.
Anyways, needed something else to do.
Yeah, again.
Consulting contract.
Another crossroads.
I came across an organization called Spirited Investors here out of this region. Their office was in Kitchener, and the idea was to invest into small, medium-sized enterprises here in our region.
Yeah.
And that made sense to me because obviously I had time, I had a bit of money, so let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's invest, and I found it exciting to see so many different companies. So we started with some good elan, and actually Intrigue Media was one of the earliest investments. It was one that was absolutely strategically one we did not want to do. We are not investing in startups, only in mature companies. Lo and behold, fast forward, Spirited Investors was not a success.
No.
Really, the only successful investment was the one in Intrigue Media.
And I'm forever grateful for Spirited Investors existing, because we wouldn't have been introduced to you otherwise.
Yeah.
So, just to backtrack quickly, Spirited Investors had a model where they would actively invest in a company, meaning that they would put in money and management.
Correct.
And Spirited Investors, I mean, we got introduced through our sales trainer at the time, and then we brought forward financials and a business plan that was actually, from what we heard later, more sophisticated than the average bear, even though we were so small and kind of young as a company. But then part of the agreement was we would sell a third of the company, and we'd get an investment jockey, or someone who would come in and help manage what we're doing on a monthly basis, essentially, kind of high level stuff. And so after a few months, we shifted jockeys, and then Stefan kind of came into play. I think it was probably like fall of 2009.
Sometime in 2009.
Like that.
Whatever, it was 2009.
So it started off on a monthly basis, and then over a couple of years, it turned into a bit more, not full-time, but more heavy part-time. So it was like kind of a once-a-week thing. And then in 2011, this whole idea of Spirited Investors winding down became more prevalent, right? Like,
absolutely. I remember I came to you and Paul to the meeting and said, gents, we are winding up Spirited Investors. We have to find a solution here.
So then we ended up buying the shares back, but Stefan maintained a portion, and then a year later we just went one-third.
That's correct.
And we were equal shareholders in the company.
Yes.
So it was a really neat process, because we had this opportunity to get to know each other over such a long period of time without putting much risk on the table, getting involved, which I think ended up being this huge lesson in all sorts of things we've done with regard to our intern program and the way we recruit and the way we look at how we handle our clients. It's like, this relationship orientation of one little step at a time, dance before you kiss.
Yes.
Go for dinner before you engage.
Yeah.
That type of stuff. So now fast forward, right today, you're at Intrigue. What are you up to right now? And quick, and then I've got a couple of questions to get to.
Yeah, sure. What I'm up to, I mean, from the beginning on, I looked after the finances a bit. Yeah. Which I have mediocre skills for. But someone has to do it, and I certainly have experience in it.
I would say so.
Yeah, so, but more recently, I have to say that when losing the mojo at Drop and Flop, one thing was I was losing the mojo for sales. Remember, Rob, I said,
you never want to
do anything here. I sweep the floors, but don't put me in sales, Rob.
Yeah, I remember that.
I'm not doing sales.
Yeah.
That's the deal. Yeah. That's what I love the best. Right? So not only is the mojo there because of the outstanding relationship the three of us have, I found my love back in sales.
That's cool.
This is fantastic.
So what sparked the passion again?
It's our sales process.
Yeah.
Because it's the honesty of the transaction with the client. The honesty how we build a relationship. Not making promises, not making any false assumptions here in the relationship.
Right.
Straight up ask lots of questions, and only after we have answered all questions together with the client, then we come up with solutions, and we say no. We say, it's not the right fit.
Yeah, that's true.
We are daring. And this is so cool. This is so much fun. I love it.
Cool.
Because it's so cool building relationships based on such a good model.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. Yeah. So, a lot of business owners, leaders in companies watching these videos. So, when it comes to partnerships, and you've referenced it a couple times, how we have a really healthy partnership as an ownership group.
Yes.
What is the most important thing, or what are one or two things that people should keep in mind when either forming a partnership or looking to maintain a healthy partnership in a business.
Open, honest communication. Clearly.
Yeah.
Do not hold back. It's bring the inconvenient truth out on the table anytime. Don't be too diplomatic.
Right.
Just bring it up and build up a consensus model. Avoid the voting. Say, let's make a decision. And sometimes it goes back and forth, but at the end of the day, everybody has to support the decision.
So why is open, honest communication such a vital component to a healthy partnership from your perspective?
I have seen negativity, not only in my own relationship with my business partners before, staying this image, but also my first job I had was actually the job I enjoyed the most, being an employee.
Yeah.
Right out of university, 3 partners in a automotive supply company. An engineer, a salesman, and a tool maker. A dream
I was going to
team.
say, perfect team.
Yes. And then they were not open and honest. They had agendas. The partnership went, why has your wife a fur coat and my wife has no fur coat? Right? To this point, right? It went toxic on the relationship. And it was not, they didn't have the clarity. Who's doing what, who's responsible. Some had their solo stints with customers. I said, no, we can't do that. It was brutal. It broke down view of communication.
Yeah, it's crazy. And when you talk about it, it seems like it's probably not unusual for that to be happening, but it just seems so foreign to me because we've never operated that way.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that I think you alluded to but didn't specifically touch on is when we communicate openly and honestly, it starts with what we want to accomplish in our life.
Yes.
And then we talk about how the business makes it happen. We don't figure out what the business is going to do and then how we're able to accomplish things in our life because of what the business is doing. It's life first, business second. And as a partnership, the 3 of us all have a very strong sense of what the priorities are in our lives, what our goals are in our lives, and then we're trying to reverse engineer how the business can support or not and be good with it, but just understanding that it's not we're not growing a business for the sake of a business.
Right.
Where I think a lot of people don't necessarily share that kind of, really potentially sensitive or vulnerable stuff with each other.
Yeah, that's a good point. Especially, we have an added complication within the 3 of us in our relationship because, as you know, I keep on telling you for the last 5 years, I'm going to retire in 10 years.
Yeah, I know. And it's still 10 years.
Yeah, of course.
Like, it's been 5 years, Stefan. It's still 10 years.
Yeah, so we're joking about this, but clearly, there is totally different life situations.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? I have grandchildren that are older than your children.
Yeah.
Paul has no children yet.
Yeah.
So, I think that extra complication helps us to resolve issues better, almost. It creates that wonderful, beautiful tension we have with having different lives, and how can we build a model that makes lives better for the 3 of us? And also reflect this on the team.
Oh, big time.
I want to stress the team here as well.
Yeah.
Because the life of our team is very important.
Well, I think that, when we went through the leadership session around what are the strategic anchors of the company and invest in our team members was one of the core 3 main pillars as to what has made us successful so far. And I think that concept of what we want to accomplish in life is spread through the entire organization through roadmaps.
Yes.
We've taken the exact same principle we use as a leadership team to own the business, understand the risks that we're taking on, and all the craziness that comes along with accounts receivable and payroll and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And understanding what we want to do with our life, but then bringing that same idea in roadmaps. And I've done a video on it before on how to manage millennials, but it's for anybody.
Yeah.
We use roadmaps for our entire organization. Each person inside the company has a roadmap, and a roadmap is about 10 different types of goals.
Yeah.
So intrigue goals is one of the 10.
Yeah.
But it's really cool because we get an understanding of what people want to accomplish with their relationship goals, their financial goals, their travel goals, their vacation goals, the books to read, the people to meet, to stop doing, spiritual, personal, fitness goals. And I think that's just a reflection of what we referred to earlier.
Yes.
And how this business is a vehicle. Intrigue and business in general is all a vehicle for people to go from A to B in life, and then how comfortable, how fast, it's all depending on the type of business that we're creating, the vehicle that we're in. But I think that's the kicker for everybody. And I think that's why we have really good communication and healthy relationships all around us, because we talk about the core stuff, not just the surface level business stuff.
Yes. And we see money comes as a result, not as a purpose.
Yeah, big time.
That's important, because it's eventually many partnerships, even partnerships between spouses, break apart often over money.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Money is a crazy part, because see money as a result of some actions, of some activities, of what you're doing.
Yeah.
So it can never be the core purpose of anything at all.
So let me skip a different direction for a quick second.
Yeah.
You're, 50 years old?
I'll buy the beer later.
No, I know, I'm just joking.
60.
Just turned 60.
Yeah,
It was a great party, by the way.
Thanks.
Some might even classify you as a digital immigrant. So
Okay.
somebody who grew up with no technology like we have today, who was introduced to Facebook and Google and smartphones, in your adult life, and now you're working and owning a digital marketing company who's trying to push the envelope on automation and e-commerce, mobile development.
Yeah.
What's that been like, and what do you say to other people out there that are in a similar position that are struggling maybe to embrace the digital transformation era, or want to and just don't know where to start?
Ask yourself why you're struggling. Look again. Don't look at the technology. Look what it's bringing to you. The way I see it, I have been better English. I was frustrated for many decades of my life that I never had the experience my grandmother had. My grandmother was born in 1899. Apart from the miseries of 2 world wars, she saw the first men flying, cars,
Right.
You name it, television, radio, you name it. All the technology that was there when I was about your age, when I was 30, was already there. There was nothing new. It was, the television I had as a kid was black and white, now it was color. See where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
Nothing was ever new. And now there comes, boom! Here comes the only new thing so far in my lifetime is the internet.
Right. Yeah, the only new thing.
Yeah, it is. Because, I mean, obviously it drives all this.
Well,
at the
it's
end of
massive.
the day, or the microchip, if you want to say the hardware side of
sure.
it, right? That drives it all now. So I'd be stupid, or anybody of my generation stupid, not to benefit from the only innovation we have in our lifetimes. And it makes life so easy. And you use the degree to which you are using it. Right? You have a menu a la carte. I don't want a Facebook like Pia, my wife's, which beeps all the time. I use it on weekends to communicate with my friends. Yeah. And then I'm on LinkedIn almost daily to communicate with business people. You set your own pace at how you're using technology.
Yeah, that's it.
But it's outright ridiculous not to use it.
Well, and it's great. I think it's a really good point that you touch on that. A lot of people have this idea that they need to be in all these different platforms. They have to use everything. So, I need to use Snapchat and Instagram and Twitter and LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Now I gotta learn how to use Periscope so I can do live videos on Twitter. And it's just like, oh my God, how do you keep up with all that? But to your point, it's like, well, just figure out what the stuff does and then figure out what suits your life and then take one bite at a time.
Absolutely. It's easy.
And then, so one piece then, intergenerational workplace issues, working with millennials.
Yeah.
You just turned 60 and had an amazing party. Our workplace is 80-90% millennials.
Yes.
And they're entitled.
Yeah, of course.
So
and I have 2 daughters who are millennials.
Yeah.
And whose product are they? The product of our upbringing, education. I mean, this is so much. I mean, these days we try to dramatize too much things.
Right.
Millennial is just a chic word for the next generation.
Legitimately.
I mean, I think they're quotes from famous philosophers out of Greek times when they were ranting about the young generation, how entitled they are and how spoiled they are. And this is all baloney.
It's perfect.
This generation is the best actively contributing generation ever.
Right.
Not because I love this generation so much, because I love you and Paul and my daughters, because there would have been no progress.
Right.
I mean, we also would be living in cages or on trees if there was not a younger generation pushing forward, pushing the envelope, go for research better things, better ways of doing it, and experimenting with different ways of doing things. That is the motor of progress. Don't expect progress from the 60-year-old guy just because he can punch a few buttons on a smartphone. Progress comes from the millennials from this generation.
That's great.
So, yeah.
I think that's just, what a great message though to send out, because I just feel like there's this stigma that's just crazy. And it was wonderful. We went to this talk in Toronto at the Drake Hotel, and this gentleman did a talk on engaging millennials. And he said, first to start with, I want to show you the last 50 years of Time magazine covers. And he showed, like, every 6 to 7 years there was a generational issue with Generation Y, Generation X, the 70. Like, there's just all the young generation is selfish, and it's just like, it's been since ancient Greek times, you know, like it's just crazy how people pigeonhole the youth, the younger generation workplace.
Oh, that's all envy.
Yeah. I love how you finished that up. So if there was one thing you could go back and tell yourself when you started this whole entrepreneurial roller coaster that you know now that you wish you knew then, what would it be?
That is a tough question, and it's hard to put me on my left foot, right? Struggling with the question. There is not a thing. I think it's the consistent learning process, and sticking to this consistent learning process. Always be ready for change. Always keep on learning, adding, learn differently. I didn't put too much attention on it, and maybe that took the mojo away. So the continuous learning needs to be part of your life. I was never an avid learner in school. I was the B- throughout. But then I was very happy. Hey, I'm out of school. No more active learning. I mean, you learn through experience. You learn through what you do. You learn through open mind. But the systematic learning, the culture of learning we have in Intrigue, I wish I had this all my life.
Cool.
It comes late, not too late, but
better late than never.
That's the only really big thing looking backwards that could have gone differently, and we may have had other outcomes of my life, but I'm happy 10 out of 10, so I can't even think of a better outcome.
Yeah, no regrets, but I still think that's a really good point, because I think the leader building program that we have, which is weekly learning and reflection and sharing, has been game changing for lots of people. Yeah, and the company itself has been game changing.
Yes,
it's created a mechanism to put teeth into evolutionary processes. So I'm really happy you brought that up.
Yeah,
thanks for doing this, Stefan.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
See you guys next time.
Okay, bye.